Hello everyone, welcome back to another review and unboxing. Today I will be taking a look at these new The Incredibles 20th Anniversary Funko Pops of Elastigirl and Mr. Incredible in their Glory Days outfits from the first movie, which also made a brief appearance in Incredibles 2 as well. But these are being marketed as from the first movie. These are actually the first Incredibles Pops, besides the SDCC exclusive Edna Mode that I reviewed a couple of months back. I'll put a link to that in the description below and the card suggestion in the top right-hand corner. These were the first Incredibles Funko Pops that have been made since Incredibles 2 was released 6 years ago, and there is Incredibles 3 currently in production that's been confirmed now, so that's definitely very much looking forward to that. Doesn't have a release date yet, but nonetheless, this year marks the 20th anniversary of the first movie, which is crazy that it's now that old. And as I predicted when I unboxed Edna a couple of months back, I predicted that they'd be doing some Incredibles ones, and here we are. We have these two, Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl. There are also black and white versions. There are chase versions, but I didn't get those, and honestly not planning on getting them because looking at the stock photos, I wasn't really a big fan of them, and I don't know how much they're going to be going for. So maybe if they're a good price, I'll get them eventually, but as of now, I'm not going to bother with them. And then there is another version of Edna and Syndrome with Jack Jack coming out too, but I haven't gotten those yet. They're still on pre-order at Amazon. These were actually shipped for some reason a bit earlier than them. Edna and Jack Jack haven't shipped. Edna and Syndrome haven't shipped yet. So I'm just going to do these two for now. I bought them on Amazon. They were originally $12.99 each. If I remember correctly, one of them stayed $12.99. The other one dropped to $10.99. So I was able to get the price difference through their pre-order price match guarantee. Although I don't recall which one was the one that dropped in price. But you should also be able to find these other resellers like Target, Walmart, Hot Topic, GameStop, etc. Although I haven't bothered looking in the store. I know that my local Target has not gotten these yet. Other than that, I haven't looked in the store. I just got it through Amazon. But without further ado, let's take a closer look at the packaging. So, starting off with Elastigirl's package, she's number 1508 in the Disney line. The Disney line is basically anything that's Disney and Pixar, so Disney live action, Walt Animation Studios, and Pixar. Other Disney properties like Marvel and Star Wars are their own lines. On the back of the package, you have this nice gradient that goes from yellow to dark red with kind of an explosion graphic on there. You can see the other releases in the line as well as silhouettes of each member of the Parr family. Collect them all. There's the Funko app that you can download that's being advertised there. On the side, you have a stock photo of Elastigirl with a white stroke around her. The Pop logo, her name and number. She's just called Elastigirl, even though this is technically the Glory Days version. And the same goes with Mr. Incredible. It's just called Mr. Incredible, but it's technically the Glory Days version. I don't recall if they refer to her as Elastigirl or Mr. Incredible in the Incredibles 2 packaging. But Mr. Incredible, it's like the same name, even though it's a completely different version. Taking a look at the other side, you see her name again, the clear side, Pop logo, and again, they have the stock photos throughout the package, but each cut off a different area. Like the one in the front is past the nose, this one over here is through the middle of the eyes, and so on. Here's the bottom of the package for anyone interested. Taking a look at Mr. Incredible's package now, he's number 1509. There was a Glory Days Mr. Incredible released a long time ago. I don't have that one, and prices for it are crazy on eBay, so I don't think I'll ever get that one. But honestly, looking at the stock photos, I think this is a much better one anyway in terms of the pose and everything. So, as you can see, it says vinyl figure. Again, you have the stock photos the same way as it was with the last year, where it's cut off in various places. The graphics on the back of the packaging are completely identical. And the same goes on the side. The graphic and backgrounds are the same. The only difference is the stock photos, but again, both of them have the white stroke and the names and numbers, obviously. On the top for both of them, you have the Pixar logo in the top left corner and the Funko logo in the bottom right corner, and the giant Pop logo in the top right corner. And you have Incredibles logo up here too, which I almost forgot to mention, as well as the numbers and the Pop logo. So these packages, it doesn't have 20th anniversary anywhere, and there's no indication in the package that these are for the film's 20th anniversary, but I don't think there's any question that they did release these for the film's 20th anniversary. So without further ado, let's take these out of the package and see how they look. So it is interesting that with Elastigirl, she could actually separate it from her base. And it's a different type of base than usual. Instead of having the peg that goes into the foot, it's actually this thing that comes around the back, kind of a curved shape, and it goes into this hole in her back, which is interesting. I've never seen that before. Mr. Incredibles was attached. Let me check if his can be separated as well. But like Elastigirl's, if you saw in the video, came off like right away as soon as I took her out of the package. So I'm assuming the Mr. Incredibles like can't be removed. So Mr. Incredible is yeah, his cannot be removed, it doesn't seem like. That's definitely interesting. I don't know why they made Elastigirl's removable, because it's not like she can stand on her own. But with the stands, they do stand nicely on their own. Taking a look at the... I'll start off with the review of Elastigirl, and she comes off her stand pretty easily, I will say. Which I'm not a fan of that. I honestly prefer where it's just built in and can't be removed. So taking a look at Elastigirl, she, like with most Funkos, she only has one point of articulation, which is that her head can be rotated. Kind of, in theory, it could go 360 degrees, but it gets blocked by the arms. So, and she is in a nice pose. You can see the nice E graphic on her chest. It's clearly legible. She has a nice face eye mask around her the top of her face. She is in a really nice kind of crime fighting pose, which I really do like. And how her left arm is stretched out a bit. The right arm is back. It's very much a fighting pose with showcasing her stretching abilities. As is typical for Funko, there is no mouth. She has nice, the red on her is really bright, which I do like. Her hair is in a nice pose as well. You could feel all the texturing on it for the lines. And she is wearing a headband as well. The headband is smooth and the hair is molded around it. You can feel her nose, all 5 of her fingers on both hands. You can see different detailing on her legs, like the area where the heel on the shoe is, and where her knees are bent. Although where the hole is back here, the red line that goes in there, it is there, but it's kind of faded on the inside for some reason. I don't know how clearly it's coming across on the camera, but it's more faded inside the hole. You can feel her nose as well as kind of just a little point that goes out. And unlike most Funkos, her eyes are white because of the eye mask. So taking a look at a comparison, I will start off with the comparison to her Incredibles 2 release in the... I'll start off with the Incredibles 2 release of her costume given her to her by Evelyn Dever, since that one was inspired by her Glory Days outfit, but not quite a replica of it. So her Incredibles 2 outfit has the same general... Her Incredibles 2 outfit has the same general graphic design as her original Glory Days outfit from the first movie, but a completely different color scheme that does not look as good and looks very dull. It's a dark gray. The part that goes with the arms and legs are black instead of red, although the red waistband stayed the same. And her Elastigirl logo was changed to being dark red as well. I mean, the first one looks much better, but I get what they're going for Incredibles 2 and changing up the design to be like, this is not Edna Mode, this is not who Elastigirl is. Her hair is completely different, the hair design, as you can see. The design of the feet actually is pretty similar, it looks like. It is a different pose, but it is kind of similar at the same time. And the same with the hand pose. The hands and arm poses are very similar, but different at the same time. So actually in Incredibles 2 one, her fingers are for whatever reason much longer than the one from the first movie that they just released. The Incredibles 2 left hand is actually a very similar pose to the right hand on the first one, although in the first one it's not as much of an angle that the arm is on. The right hand on the Incredibles 2 one, the one that's stretched out, versus the one on the left hand for Incredibles 2, it's generally the same pose, except again the fingers are so much longer and the hand is so much bigger on the one from Incredibles 2, which you can chalk up to a justification as she is able to stretch her body in the movies. So that can be justified as that, even though that's obviously just a continuity issue with Funko. But at least one that you could actually justify. While we're on the topic of Incredibles 2 Elastigirl, I'll also bring the Incredibles 2 Elastigirl and the Elasticycle Funko from the Ride sub-series. So this one you could actually see the Elasticycle on. It's the only rides that they've ever made for the Incredibles franchise. I'd love for them to do an Incredible as well, but currently this is the only one, unfortunately. And this one, it's like an identical hair and everything to the Incredibles 2 Gray Suit Elastigirl. So it's like the comparison for the Incredibles 2 Elastigirl, the comparison of this to the Gray Suit Incredibles 2 Elastigirl is like, it would pretty much just be the same when talking about the face. As the rest of it is like, you can't even really compare, because this one she's fighting, the other one she's riding a motorcycle. But it's still good to show the different versions. The one released way back when, from like when Funko started their line, I don't have, but I do have this Incredibles 2 one in the regular pose. But I will note that she was having, many years ago when I got her, she was having such severe issues standing on her pose, and she would not stand her own, so I crazy glued her to the stand and messed up her foot in the process, as well as got a little bit of residue in her hair. It's not the end of the world, although it does not look good. So comparing that to Incredibles 2 Elastigirl, or rather to the new Elastigirl, and actually taking a look at this, it's like they kept the exact same face for all the Incredibles 2 Elastigirls, so it's like not even going to bother talking about that. But taking a look at the poses, they are quite a bit different. The Incredibles 2 Elastigirl in the normal suit is certainly not in the fighting pose at all, whereas this Glory Days one from the first movie is. The suit design, there's not really much to compare. So basically the leggings are kind of similar heights, except for Incredibles 2 suit version, or, well, technically this would be her Incredibles 1 version, because she had the same suit in both movies. It's basically just red where it's skin on the Glory Days version, and an Incredibles logo where the Elastigirl logo was. Other than that, it's basically a very similar suit design. And the hair on these two, it is quite a bit different as well. Again, I'm not really going to go into that because it's identical to the gray suit one. The body shape is generally basically the same, more or less. But however, the poses are obviously very, very different. Like, you can't even compare these two on the poses. So moving on to Mr. Incredible now. I really, really like this this Mr. Incredible pose. It's actually probably my favorite Mr. Incredible Funko pose that they've ever made. I do wish that they would release one of him in this pose in his red suit that he wears for the majority of both movies. So this is very much a running expression. You can see one of his feet is up in the air, and he's standing on one foot basically because of that, which is why he can't be disconnected from the stand, because it's impossible for him to stand like this as a Funko. Again, for articulation, his head can do a full 360 without issues. Again, no mouth. He has a nice face mask, or not face mask, eye mask. His nose is quite a bit bigger than Elastigirl's. You could definitely see it and feel it. Again, his eyes are white. I do like his hair a lot. You could really feel all the textures and grooves of it. It's a nice shade of blonde. And I do really like this blue and black suit design. Very different from the red that he wears for the majority of the movies. Very iconic. You could see and feel the abs in him. Nice graphic for the Incredibles logo, or the Mr. Incredible logo, not the Incredibles yet. Nice hand design. You could feel all of his fingers, and his hands are in nice athletic poses. You can see the soles of his shoes, or one of his shoes rather. The other doesn't have. The one that's connected to the base, that doesn't have the sole of his shoe. This one, the one that's not on the ground, does. Nice texturing for the muscles on his arms. You could feel, as well as on the legs. You could really definitely see and feel how Mr. Incredible has a very athletic body in this Funko. And on both of them, you could definitely see and feel all the different grooves in their hair, which is nice. It's always something I like with Funko. They're really good with detailing and everything. It does look like a very clean design. You did an excellent job with it, as usual. Comparing him to his Incredibles 2 version of Funko, well, as in the one released under the Incredibles 2 logo, because this is technically very much a Funko from both movies. You can see that the poses and expressions are quite a bit different. The red suit version is slightly taller, but that's because of the fact that the Glory Days version is running, so when you're running, your body's more of an angle, so you look shorter. Hair is similar but different. So the Incredibles, or the Glory Days one, it's on more of a curve where it comes out in front. So this one is on less of a curve. Other than that, it's very, very similar. Even a lot of the grooves and texturing you could see are actually in very similar places. Not 100% identical, but very, very similar. It looks like the Glory Days one also has a nose that's slightly longer for some reason. And the red suit has a face mask that's like a completely different design. Like this, the one on this side is bigger than the one on the other side, it looks like, for some reason. And then whereas this one, it's symmetrical. So that's definitely interesting. I wonder if that's an error in the Incredibles 2 one. And you could also definitely see and feel the muscles on his back, and that goes for both of them. Both of them, you could definitely see the muscles and abs in him, although I think it's more pronounced in terms of being able to feel it on this Glory Days version. There was also, like I mentioned before, there's a Glory Days version that was released a very long time ago, but I don't have that. But what I'll do is I'll put a stock photo up on the screen, and I will look at it on another device so that we could do a comparison to that based on stock photos at least. So the original Glory Days Mr. Incredible Funko that was released back, I don't know what it was, 2012, 2013, I don't know at the top of my head, but it was very early on in the Disney Funko line, only number 17 versus this one being 1509. So that is quite a lot of Funkos that have been released just from Disney in that time frame. And the original one was a Comic-Con exclusive, and it was limited to 480 pieces according to the box, the stock photo on Funko's website. So I'm definitely really glad that there's now a Glory Days Mr. Incredible Funko that is available to the general public that's not limited to some crazy low value, and that's widely accessible. The Edna mode that they did at Comic-Con early this year, there's no way that was only 480 pieces, because I was able to get it online like a couple of hours after it was released, online probably. So it's definitely good they're not limiting it to that low anymore. Anyway, going into the comparison, the original Glory Days Mr. Incredible looks more like a standard pose, kind of similar to the red suit Mr. Incredible pose, and honestly, it's just not as cool as the Glory Days Mr. Incredible pose. And like I said, I really wish that they do this pose in the red suit. Honestly, I would love to get that. And taking a look at the stock photo, I don't have it in person, so stock photo may be misrepresenting some things, but it looks like the hair is like a bright yellow instead of blonde. Like both of these have an accurate blonde color. The stock photo for the original Glory Days Mr. Incredible looks like bright yellow, which doesn't look right. It looks like it's missing a lot of the texturing that these have. Although the graphic design of the suit is obviously pretty similar. Looks like his nose might also be a little more slightly detailed, whereas now it's a bit more simplistic, which is an interesting change, but like in so many ways, this new version is just so much better, just basing out the stock photos. And from what I read, people generally say that this new version is better as well. So anyway, and I'll also throw a stock photos up for comparison of the chase versions of these as well that are black and white. So the chase versions, I don't know how many pieces there's a limited to, but to my understanding, it's like a 1 in 6 chance. So it's like when they send these Incredibles Funkos to the store, they come in a case pack of 6. I don't know the breakup of each case, but basically, like only 1 out of every 6 cases has the chase versions. So I got both these from Amazon. So I don't know what it's like getting a chase in the store. I'd assume you'd be able to know what the store is a chase in stock or not on the shelf. But get it from Amazon, you don't know what you get till you open the box from Amazon. And I got the regular versions both. But like I said before, I'm fine with that because I don't really care for the black and white versions all that much, to be honest. And basically, just look at the stock photos. They look to be completely identical in basically everything except for the color, like the poses, the graphics, everything is just identical. Just the chase versions are all in grayscale instead of in color. So anyway, let me know in the comment section below what you think of these Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl Glory Days Funko Pops and the Incredibles. And if you think you'll be picking these up and how you think they compare to the other versions of the Funkos that are out there. So make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon for another video. Bye now.